swing to the outside, and as we used to call them, they become rim riders. They ride out wide.
Little gamble there, Bud Kaler.
Well, yes, you can go to the outside and the rest of the pack will move in on you, and we're running second and you end up last. The whole pack will go by if it isn't faster when you go to the outside of the track.
Or as we've seen tonight, you can actually wind up in the wall occasionally.
Well, that can happen at any time. You don't plan on that happening, but sometimes you move to the outside and you can't get back in. Everybody packs in underneath you on the pole, and you got to go to last then in order to get back in.
That's particularly true in this type racing where everyone is so close. You get out of that groove. Let's say you're running third, and you get out of that groove, and the old term is the train went by. The whole train will go by, and before you can find a spot to get back down in that groove, if you want to, you might be 7 or 8 positions behind. But Gates and McClellan are well known for their rim riding, and when they get out there, they'll stay out there. And they'll just throw caution to the winds. Now, 3 or 4 times here this season, I have seen the 2 of them squeezed right up into that wall, and you swear there's no place to go, but they fight their way through.
We have a lot of Sports Vision viewers watching in Rockford. And for you fans who are watching in Rockford, these World of Outlaws Midgets will be performing on October 2nd, a Saturday night at Rockford Speedway at Love's Park in Rockford. And if you're enjoying the action tonight on television on Sports Vision, we know you'll enjoy watching them in person. Of course, here at Raceway Park in Blue Island tomorrow night, the adults and the kids and everybody on the holiday invited down for an 8 o'clock start for late model stocks and hobby stocks. A full night of racing action tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, right here at Raceway Park, 130th and Ashland in Blue Island, Illinois. And now the cars are off. And Wayne, how do you see this one?
Well, I see this as being a mighty exciting 50 laps of racing. There are 20 cars entered. Now, the way we start the feature race in the World of Outlaw Midgets, the top 9 qualifiers are handicapped. In other words, the driver with the fastest qualifying time will be starting in 9th place. It is not a total handicap. He does not start in 20th place. So Bob Bennett, who set an all-time track record here tonight at 11.525, which is really speeding around a track the size of a football field. That's flying. He will be starting 9th. Now we have Don Carter Jr. will be starting in polar number 1 position in car number 97. Alongside is car number 54, a young man from nearby Riverdale, Illinois, Ken Hopkins. He's driving a Volkswagen. As we mentioned before, most of the cars are powered with Volkswagen engines. Car number 99, the driver that is only 17 points out of first place in this tremendous battle for the championship of 1982, Jim Gates, will be starting pole 2nd row. Car number 01 is Bob Richards. Bob Richards of Lockport in the American Eagle Volkswagen, outside 2nd. 3rd row pole, last year's co-rookie of the year. Young man whose father used to run stock cars here at Raceway, and then switched to the midget racing cars and was a UARA midget champion. And had an unfortunate accident and passed along, and Danny Pimms, his son, is now driving, and last year was his first year, and he's doing an excellent job. 44 is George Claytis, the son of former midget driving champion Danny Claytis, who's in the field tonight also, but didn't make the feature. But Danny ran at Indianapolis in 1947. He drove Andy Granatelli's car in Indianapolis.
1947, he rode the 500?
Yep. And
wow. And how old is he here?
He's about, he won't tell you, but I figured it out. He started racing in 34. That was 2 years before I got in the game, and I've been in it 45 years. He has got to be 67 years old. He retired from the Ford Motor Company about 2.5 years ago, and now he says he's working 3 jobs now.
He's racing against some of these kids who are 2 generations back, for crying out loud.
Oh, yes. Yes, he was racing before most of them were born. Now, Russ Gamester, car number 46, is 4th row pole. And then we'll have Jim Mahoney in car number 9. He was 2nd fastest qualifier tonight and one of 4 drivers that broke the track record. We have Bob Bennett, the fast qualifier and new record holder, starting 5th row pole. On the outside then, in car number 1 is Mac McClellan. Now McClellan, in his previous appearances here, and he's won a couple of features here this year, He was setting the fast time. He held the track record until tonight. And here he
what would
didn't
that
even
be, about 11.5 seconds?
11.5 seconds. Figure that out for a quarter mile. They're flying. And McClellan didn't even qualify in the top 9 tonight. And he was a former record holder. And he's the point leader. But he'll start outside 5th. Now watch that number 1, because as I mentioned, he's an outside runner. And if he goes out of that groove and commits himself, you're going to see some action. 6th row pole is Rich Corson in car number 15. He's from Tenley Park. That's a Chevy 2-powered car. 1X is Dennis DeVay from Joliet. 7th row in car number 17 is Jim Trench of Peru, Illinois. Car number 5 is Ken Cahill of West Liberty, Iowa. In car number 22, 8th row pole, Jim Wartenberg of Joliet. That's a Braga VW. Car number 38 is Klaus Weaver. He's from Manuka, Illinois, driving his own Volkswagen. Then we have car number 7, Larry Cahill of West Liberty, Iowa. He'll start 9th row pole. 9th row on the outside in car number 34 is Tom Corcoran of Joliet. In the last row, car number 90, Barry Kruger of Palatine in a Chevy 2. And car number 64 is Gene Drangmeister. And Gene, I believe, hails from Peru, Indiana. That's correct, Peru, Indiana. That's the field. There's 20 of them. Now, what will happen here, Dwayne, is in the event of an accident of any type, the starter, Bill Shipman, will drop the caution flag, and the drivers will immediately swing into single file formation, but they will continue running. Those laps are not counted. If the race has to be stopped for any reason, a serious accident, then we would go back a lap, and they would line them up the way they were running on the last completed lap. Now here in just a moment, you are going to see some mighty beautiful formations as these drivers are well schooled in putting on a show for the public. You're going to see them as they are now in single file formation, but you watch the starter. As Bill Shipman gives them a signal, they will start to maneuver, and they'll give this crowd a real show before that green flag drops.
Wayne, you were talking about top lap speed. Bob Guest, Public Relations Director for World of Outlaws Midgets, just on his calculator, figured out 11.5 seconds to be 76 miles per hour, and he said their top speed would be 90 miles an hour on the 1-lap qualifying speed.
And remember, that's racing around an area the size of a football field.
At 76 miles per hour average speed, record time. Here we go.
All right, that's Bill Shipman out there telling these drivers to double up. Now he gives them another signal. And look at this. The cars move 3 abreast in a parade, a salute to the fans. Here is Bill Shipman on the track with the 2 checker flags flying here as the field comes around.
What a show.
They wave, they salute the crowd. It's really a spine-tingling event,
Yeah,
you know?
We're live now, ladies and gentlemen. We're live from
This is
Raceway
live.
Park in Blue Island, Illinois.
All right, the drivers are ready. The time has come now. 50 times around this quarter-mile track with Don Carter Jr. and Ken Hopkins in the first row, and they lead them into number 3. Our starter is ready with the dual green flags, and they're running. Carter goes into the lead in car number 97. Extremely high speed, very, very close. Competition is speeding all the way down the line. A wheel loose here in the straightaway and bouncing along with the cars, and the caution flag is thrown. Now that wheel came off car number 38, I believe.
That bounced above the lights here, Wayne. There you see it coming to rest.
Wheel ripping off Klaus Weaver's car number 38. And there was a few anxious moments here as that wheel went high in the air. I would say 20, 25 feet in the air.
Yes.
And they're checking the car over now. Of course, Klaus Weaver is out of the race. That's all over for him. But, Bud, what would cause a wheel to come off? We don't see that too much in midget racing anymore.
No, I looked like it broke an axle, but they don't have an axle on these cars. It's a tube. And I don't know what happened that he lost that wheel. I imagine it wasn't put on tight and it came off, because these cars don't lose wheels very often.
Well, they talk about the air game in football and in basketball. We had a bit of an air game there in your sport, auto racing, Wayne, with that wheel sailing high above the lights on the home straightaway.
And that's one souvenir you don't want to catch.
Indeed.
You know, we have a very good protective fence system here at Raceway. Our steel walls are backed by 14 inches of concrete, and then we have that big slanting wheel fence that arches over the racetrack. Very, very rarely do you ever see anything get into the grandstand. It hasn't happened in many, many years. All right, it looks like we'll start the next time around.
We have to complete the first lap.
97.
Complete restart.
Ken Hopkins, number 54, alongside. And then Jim Gates in 99. Bob Richards in 01. Those are the top four. And as we get under the green flag again, it is Don Carter Jr. out front, followed by Jim Gates in car number 99. And Gates is swinging to the outside already. He's going to try to take the lead on the outside. It's a very difficult thing to do, but he's going to race Carter on the outside, and they're neck and neck. Swinging around the number 4 corner, Gates is in the lead in car number 99. Gates out front, followed by Carter, number 97. Hopkins, 54, is third. And then comes car number 4. Danny Penn is in 4th position. And then car number 01, Bob Richards. Moving out, increasing his lead is Jim Gates in car number 99, a young man from Plano in that American Eagle. Look at him lift that left front wheel. He powers that car out of the corner, and the left front wheel is lifting 6 or 7 inches off the ground. He's into slower traffic already, and he swings to the outside as Don Carter Jr. tries to stick with him. Back in that pack, the traffic is fast and furious as drivers are jockeying for position. With 20 cars on this small racetrack, there's action everywhere. Regardless of where our spectators look, they can see cars battling. Some of them wheel to wheel, many of them getting together. Tail end of the cars being pushed by the car behind them. Jim Gates in car number 99. There you see Jim riding into the back straightaway, and he has put a little distance between himself and Don Carter Jr. in car number 97. In third position, we still have Hopkins riding there ahead of Danny Penns in car number 4. And then Bob Richards in car number 01 is 5th. Now the lead cars have overtaken some of the slower cars, and the slower cars are cutting to the inside of the track. We have a problem on the back straightaway. Something has happened to car number 5. Ken Cahill in car number 5 is posting to a halt in number 3 corner. And looks like he has a little flame out of the exhaust pipe there, which, what would that indicate? Bud, the flame coming out of the exhaust pipe there, what would that indicate is wrong?
Well, I don't think that's any big problem. They just load up with a little alcohol. These cars burn alcohol for fuel. The carburetors spill over a little bit. Something else happened to this car, but it's just got a little blue flame burning excess alcohol out of the exhaust pipe.
All right, we will go single file for the restart here.
Wayne, I understand from World of Outlaws publicity department that Jim Gates was turning 78.5 miles per hour lap time in traffic.
Well, I'll tell you, he is going to be mighty difficult to catch, because with the ability that this man has and the fact that he needs 17 points to overhaul the point leader, Mac McClellan, and McClellan must be having a little difficulty tonight, because in previous appearances here, McClellan has been our fast qualifiers, and he has also won 2 feature races. And Gates has won 2. So Gates is trying for number 3. Now, as we look down the lineup here, we see McClellan is quite a ways back in the pack. As a matter of fact, he is running about ninth position. We'll line him up with car number 99, of course, is our leader, Jim Gates, followed by Don Carter Jr. in 97. 54, Ken Hopkins is running 3rd. Car number 7 is in 4th position. Larry Cahill. Now,
that's right, Wayne. Officially, McClellan is 9th, as you just pointed out.
Right. I'm wondering about car number 7, Larry Cahill, if we can check with our scorer there, because I had Danny Penns running in 4th position. I didn't see Cahill get up there that quickly. If he did, he's doing quite a job, because he started 9th row on the inside.
Understand that, right, Wayne, you're correct. Car 7 is a lap down.
Okay.
So he's on the lead. He's a lap down.
He's in this position on the racetrack, but the 3 cars ahead of him have already lapped him. So Larry Cahill is 1 lap behind. 4th running then is Danny Pence in car number 4. The starter looks them over, and he's giving them the indication that the green flag will come down next time around. Jim Gates, car number 99, running at speeds of well over 75-mile-an-hour average here tonight at Raceway Park in Blue Island. Green flag is out, and they're running again. Here you find Jim Gates coming around the number 4 corner and into the straightaway. Don Carter Jr. just barely holding 2nd spot over Ken Hopkins in car number 54. Danny Penn's running 4th in car number 4. Then Bob Richards in 01. And there is Gates as he really powers down that back straightaway. Well, it looks to me like Gates is determined to take that point lead here tonight, and all he needs is a feature win here, or just to finish 1 position ahead of McClellan. And as we glance down in that pack, McClellan is not doing. As a matter of fact, McClellan just pulled out of the race. Mac McClellan has just pulled into the infield in car number 1. There goes his first place in point standings, as something has happened to his car. A tough break for the defending World of Outlaw Midget champion. He won the title last year, and he was well on his way to a 2nd championship here. And the 26-year-old driver, Mac McClellan, who's a veteran of 8 years of racing, is out of the race completely. Well, that definitely means that Jim Gates is going to take the title lead here. Gates is stretching that lead. He is literally pulling away from 2nd place Don Carter Jr. Danny Penn's now in 4th position in car number 4. There's car number 54 is Ken Hopkins. He's running in 4th spot ahead of Richards in car number 01. Gates' car is beginning to smoke. Smoke pouring out of the car driven by Jim Gates.
Look at
car
that, Bud
99 is in trouble. The caution flag has been thrown. Something appears to be hanging on the side of Jim Gates' car. And the car was smoking very badly, which of course indicates trouble, and Gates has pulled into the infield, crawls out of car number 99, and look at the dejected young driver there. Jim Gates, who had it in the bag. 19 laps have been completed. There's 31 laps to go, and Gates is out of the race. Well, the fate of racing. Bud, how do you feel when something like that happens?
Well, I don't know what happened to that car. I couldn't see, but something happened. He was smoking, and then also a piece of the car was hanging, so I don't know what happened to the car myself yet, but That's the most disappointing thing when you're leading the race and running away from the field and then have the car quit.
Here's another look.
Here's a replay of something dangling from the side of Jim Gates' car smoking badly, and we're trying to identify exactly what happened.
Yeah, it's something. It can be something from the engine that came out, but I don't know what that means.
Well, the unfortunate part for Jim Gates, he's out of the race. Those caution laps did not count, and we'll be rolling again here. And the leader now is Don Carter Jr. in car number 97. So both previous feature winners here this season are out of the race. Mac McClellan and Jim Gates, who have that horrid battle going for the championship in points, World Outlaw Midgets. Don Carter Jr. on top. And is he getting pressure? Danny Pins in car number 4. Mighty close second, and Danny Pins is trying the rim rider deal. He's trying to go on the outside. That time they made contact. The car's hit coming off number 4. Carter number 97. Danny Pins, co-rookie of the year last year, running a close second place, and he's really close. Right behind him is Hopkins, then Richards. And any one of 5 or 6 drivers could possibly win this feature event tonight. We still have quite a ways to go. Look at Danny Pins swinging out wide, driving that outside groove, taking the long way around the track. But many times it can work. Sometimes it doesn't. Halfway point, 25 laps completed. Still a lot of time to go. And Don Carter Jr. hangs on as the caution flag is out again, and we find a car down in the number 1 corner. Something has happened in the number 1 corner.
Down there.
It is car number 64, Gene Drankmeister. Gene Drankmeister, he is out of the car. He's okay. I don't believe he made contact with the wall. Drankmeister, young man from Peru, Indiana, and he is driving his own number 64.
Bud, does that wall give much when you hit it?
No, it used to. Years ago, before they put the concrete, I went through the wall.
Through the wall?
Yeah, I got into the second row of the grandstands down there by the pits one night, but that was before they had a steel fence with no cement behind it. Now they put 2 steel walls in with concrete in between them, and nobody goes through it.
And it's a sudden stop, too, I'll tell you. You know, I heard the other day where they were giving people a 7-mile-an-hour ride down a little incline and letting them have a sudden stop when they were trying to teach them about safety belts. How about a sudden stop at 75 miles an hour?
Yeah, well, it knocks you out. When you hit the wall and it stops you all of a sudden, it knocks the wind out of you, and it takes you a while to get things going again.
I think it's just amazing, gentlemen, that Gates, while he was in that race on the 8th lap, they recorded him at 78.5 miles an hour on this quarter-mile track here at Raceway Park. Phenomenal speed, isn't it?
It's phenomenal speed, but we had the indicator tonight when 4 drivers broke the track record. Those track records have stood for a while. But,
so the chassis and the engines are certainly right on these World of Outlaws midget machines, aren't they, Bud?
Yes, these here cars are finely tuned. They're beautiful, you know. If you just to look at them, I think every one of these guys is proud of his car, and they constantly work on these, and they're like a picture. They're just perfect.
All right, here we go again as Bill Shipman swings that green flag. Don Carter Jr. and Danny Pins resuming the duel for front position. And Danny Pins, he hasn't quite made up his mind now. Does he want to try the outside again, or does he try the inside? He looked like he was going to dive on the inside that time as they hit the back straightaway. He appears to be flexing his muscles a little. Now he's going outside, and will he make it? Danny Pins taking a dangerous ride out wide. The danger ride, that's what they call it, because if you slide a little bit and the driver you're trying to get by slides a little bit, there's no place to go except into the wall. Don Carter, he still leads a pack of 7 that are potential winners here tonight, as these 7 cars are closely bunched. Now, Danny Pins in that black number 4. Looked like he was going to try to take the inside route, and he swings outside. He's trying every trick in the trade to get by Don Carter Jr. So far, he's been unsuccessful. You can't get him much closer than that. There's 9 cars running in a bunch. And Danny Pins takes the wide groove again. See what he's doing. He's swinging wide and then apparently trying to get a bite to dive under the other driver, Don Carter Jr. But so far it has not worked. Ken Hopkins close third in 54, followed by Bob Richards at car number 01. And now a little bit of daylight between second and third place. Not much. Danny Pins, he's determined to try the outside, and he's trying it again. With only a few laps remaining in this classic feature event, Don Carter Jr. of Joliet still on top. But Danny Pins is really giving him a ride. They're only inches apart as they come around that corner. Their wheels have touched many, many times. We have approximately 14 laps to go. Well, I can see this is going to be a battle right to the checker. Don Carter Jr. still leading it. But look at Danny Pins. He has not tucked himself in behind the leader now for several laps. He's riding that wide groove. Hopkins still holds third place at car number 54, and Richards is giving him a battle. Here they come again, and Danny Pins again powered off the number 4 corner, and I thought he had him. On the back straightaway, they're neck and neck, side by side. They're approaching a slower car. Danny Pins and Don Carter Jr., and he has Carter trapped in behind a slower car, and Danny Pins has taken the lead. After driving on the outside there for many, many laps, Danny Pins out-fronted car number 4. That's the DeVay Volkswagen, and Danny Pins is really giving it a ride of his life tonight. Now with Don Carter running second, we have Russ Game Master, I believe, and car number 46 has moved up to third. Correction, that is car number 16. That's Bob Bennett, the fastest qualifier. Started in 9th position, and he is running a close third right behind Don Carter. There you see Carter in 97. And you see Bennett right behind him, the new track record holder. He almost went over. He caught the inside barriers on the track, and he had a wheel right up inside Don Carter at that time and almost left the ground. Well, with Danny Pins safely out front now, has a lead of about 8 or 9 car lengths on second place. The second place battle is the one to watch. It's Don Carter, number 97, and Bob Bennett in number 16. Hopkins has dropped off the pace, still in 4th spot in car number 54, followed by Richards in car number 01. And the second place duel continues in heavy traffic as they approach slower cars. Just a couple of laps to go. And here is the white flag, as a matter of fact, for Danny Pins. Now that second place battle is really tough because they have 2 slower cars ahead of them. Carter is going to stay tucked in behind a slower car, and Bennett made a run at him at the checker flag and lost second place by perhaps about 6 or 7 inches. And Danny Pins of Joliet in the DeVay VW has scored the win. This young man, who was co-rookie of the year last year in the world of outlaw midget racing, a second-generation driver whose father raced stocks and midgets for many, many seasons, has scored a victory.
Yeah, Bud, did Did Carter do anything wrong there when Penn took the lead? It appeared to me that Carter was like Foyt always is, a great front runner and keeping the man in second place behind him. Then did he make any mistakes before the man? Here's the pass on the replay. Let's take a look at it. Bud, your comments.
Well, Penn had him beat. You know, he was just waiting for his spot to go by because he had been working him over for a long time. And when you're running in second spot, lots of times you decide, well, let the guy go. He's got me beat. He's worked me over on all sides and everything. I'll let him win it. If you can't win a race, second spot is the best place in the world to run.
So Carter conceded the lead there, you thought, at that particular time?
I think he gave up when he saw him, you know what I mean, go around the outside of him. He decided to let him go.
Penn's just the fastest machine of the cars that stayed in the race.
Well, yes, he ended up winning the race, and that's the most important thing, to be first when the checkered flag drops.
And to hang in for the entire 50 laps, right?
Well, you got to stay in there. That's the whole idea of this thing. If you aren't running when the checkered flag drops, you have no chance of winning it. So you got to go fast, but don't louse up someplace and get laying on a racetrack, because there ain't no way you can win a race then.
All right, Danny Penz of Joliet in car number 4, and what I thought, gentlemen, was a breathtaking sports event here on Sports Vision.
Dwayne, Danny just started his racing career last year, so he is a relative newcomer to the world of outlaws or to midget racing in general. And he suffered a very severe accident last season, but came right back and started racing again as quickly as he could. As a matter of fact, I don't even believe he missed a show. He's only 21 years old.
Maybe Indy?
I don't know if he really has that desire or not. He's a great favorite with the crowds and a great favorite with the young ladies, we understand. 21 years old and single.
All right, now we'll have the late model feature coming up. And right now, let's take this break.
World of Outlaw Midget feature. Car number 4, Danny Penz, was the winner. Finishing second in car number 97, Don Carter Jr. Third place in car number 16 went to Bob Bennett. In fourth place, car number 54, Ken Hopkins. In fifth position, driving car number 01, Bob Richards. And sixth in car number 44, George Claytis.